They will take really good care of your kids. I have a senior and a freshman at U of O, both Lakeridge kids, and so please know that. I didn't know that like I know it on the other side. You have a role, a really important role, but I love everything you said, except I'm going to disagree a little bit on that last note, in that any conversation with your child is good as long as you are not part of their stress load. And I think that's what I really want to talk to you about today, is really understanding as a human being, not just a parent, how important your role is as part of the process. Do I have half an hour? Is that what I have?
You have an hour.
Oh, I have an hour for, oh good. I was stressing. Good. Last 2 years ago, my daughter joined me for this. This is my second time presenting the same material, because she, I think I did it in November was when I came, because her stress load, doing college prep stuff, and she's a very driven kid and wanted to really have a lot of opportunities. She ended up at Dornbecker with a 5-day intense migraine. She had never had a migraine, and it was a real wake-up call for pile on stress, we'll be fine, we can handle this. Oh my God, my kid is not just going to go home again from Kaiser Sunnyside with some Vicodin. They don't know what's going on with her head. And it just came to kind of a crashing halt around. We still wanted her to go to college. She did go. She's fine. She's never had a migraine since. It wasn't just stress, but that was absolutely a contributing factor is what they found. So she's not here. Her name's Shay. She came and just said a few words about that, and from a perspective of a senior at that point, what was helpful and not helpful, and she taught me a lot. So I hope to pass on in the spirit of what we learned as a family some of that as well. So I've been in clinical practice 10 years. This is the second career for me. I'm a therapist in private practice. I have 6 children. I married a man with 4. Didn't know what I was doing really, so that was good because I didn't have my own kids, and then we had 2 more. So we are now empty nesters as of this last year, completing it, which has been really fun. So we've been through a lot as a family. I've seen a lot as a mom. I see a lot because I work with adolescents, so I get to be the person in the room that they talk to about what's going on at home, what's going on inside of them. I have a few Lakeridge kids actually, so I'll leave some time for questions, but I hope to kind of sprinkle this with not just information for you to write down, but really a deeper experience of understanding yourself about how stress works in the body, and again, really appreciating your role. Do you have any questions to start? I'm going to lay out kind of what I'll go through, and I'd like to talk about some big ideas. Then I'm going to talk to you about brains, because there's actually a lot going on inside than just thinking progress that is about stress. I'm going to talk to you about how well you know your kid. I want you to think about your own stress level, because basically you are modeling something, and we're going to talk about what that might be. And then to talk about interventions and prevention. And then if we have time, some of the more serious issues where stress can go to another level. My daughter, it was a migraine, so it was a physical level. For kids who may be kind of a little bit eating disordered, it can take an eating disorder to another level. Some kids that struggle with anxiety or depression, we can see panic disorder or more clinical depression. So you want it, that's again a part of kind of knowing your kid, but I'm happy to field some questions about some of that. Does that sound good? Okay. So the big ideas, I'm going to write some of them down. So what I've really learned is process affects outcome. Isn't it effects or defects? I think it's effects. It's not process versus outcome. That's how you probably think of those 2 words. So you guys, we want our kids to be happy and healthy and get into a good school if they want to go to college. And what I didn't learn until Shay had her headache, I didn't know so profoundly, was the process, and our part of it and her part of it was absolutely affecting the outcome. So that's, and Lee just said, it's not just the outcome of getting November 1st. It's all the way through. So I'd love for you to look back over this year whatever age your kid is at school here, and really say, we can really feel good about how we were in a process of helping them journey through the high school years. Not just academically, but in our relationship with them and in their social world and with their health and their mental health. So another big idea is I want to talk about brain health. So this isn't just about up here, it's about the whole body and how we respond to stress. And there's some really amazing emerging information about the neurology involved with the rest of our body and how our systems are pretty interconnected, not just the brain stem part. Stress, I found for kids, is a code word. They don't like the word anxiety and depression. So a kid will come to me and say, I'm stressed out. That doesn't, you and I may not relate with our semantics around the word stress are, there's a lot going on and I'm kind of aware of it, a lot of balls in the air. That for them may be clinical depression actually. So when you hear the word stressed out, listen more closely. So stress is a code word. And I would offer that they're going to have some level of privacy with you. As a therapist, I'm the person that gets to hear more than I got to hear even about my own kids. There are invisible stressors that you are not aware of, just like you have invisible stressors they are probably not aware of. Social pressures, if there are troubles in your family, your kids are absorbing that. And then there's just this world, academics, and a real sense in this kind of a school of where are you going? You've got to make the right decision. You have to know, but they don't know. They don't maybe know what they want to do. They don't know what kind of school. That's a lot of external stress, and then it becomes internal stress, and that's a tough spot to be in. So just know that there are stressors you may never learn about that are affecting your child. Hopefully you'll be able to hear about some of those if you have that kind of relationship, where this is an opportunity to develop that, so they have some level of transparency with you. But they're teenagers. They're supposed to be differentiating, so they're going to have some privacy. So just have a sense of like, okay, there's 25% going on for you that you're carrying that I may not be aware of. And then the last big idea is just that you have a huge role. But I'd like you to think about delineating that role from not just being another high school counselor or another teacher and another voice of the same thing. You have a huge, and I would say, complementary role. Maybe even equal, if complementary can be equal. But it's different, and I really hope that as you note what they're telling you to do at home, you also remember that you are in that sense of just a core human process, that resource, that refuge of nurturance for your kid, which they really need for this part about how it will affect the outcome. So let me kind of segue to brain health. This erases with